Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, the old adage of you never know what you're capable of until you're confronted by it has never been more true. And if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of industry professionals and pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I'm assuming you do. You're listening to the podcast right now. We'd love it if you would subscribe. You can find us basically wherever you find your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google. It's all good. And plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. Also, if you can give us a follow on social media, that'd be great. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at either at In the Seats or at It's Podcast One for all sorts of updates. And plus, we're on TikTok just for a little bit of fun over it In the Seats. But finally, and I do dare, I say this a lot, but it's the most important. Please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest reviews and news from the world of television, film, and basically anything else that we can think of. If it's the moving image, we love to write about it and talk about it, and we love it when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please stop on by. On this episode, we've got a real interesting one. It is on video on demand platforms right now, and it is called Stronger for Life. It's a documentary chronicling the cancer diagnosis and journey to wellness of fitness icon Ilaria Montagnani, who was the founder of the fitness brand Powerstrike, and she is an acclaimed fitness expert and really just sort of this powerhouse of a woman who in the summer of 2016 got a cancer diagnosis for breast cancer, and she decided to document the whole thing. And it's really an amazing piece of work because there's no director on it. There's no real sort of, there is no sort of film structure. It's really her sort of directing and showing sort of this moment in her life, warts and all, and just really creating sort of this powerful, inspiring moment of how you have to sort of, well, on one end take care of yourself, but, be able to power through it at the same time, and understanding sort of the differences between sort of just muscling through and, physically, but also psychologically as well. And we got to talk with Ilaria about sort of this entire process and making it, and it was a fun talk, so I hope you enjoyed it, because I know that I did.
Well, I mean, obviously, first off, Ilaria, thank you so much for the time today. I really do appreciate this.
Thank you. Thank you so much for you.
Now, I guess my first question is because, what was sort of what was going through your brain to start documenting all this? Because, I mean, if I can imagine if most people get a diagnosis of cancer, the first thought isn't film crew. Why did you want to, why did you want to do it? Why did you want to document this entire story?
Yeah, it wasn't my first thought, film crew either, believe me. It was just let me run into a black hole and hide. That was my first thought. No, the reason why I wanted to do this is because my fitness philosophy for 20 years has always been that, life is going to throw shit at you, basically. Excuse my language. And it's going to throw challenges, whatever they are. And I think we become a lot stronger through exercise.
Yeah.
It has been for me the discipline that we develop through exercise, the repetitions that, forces us to go through when we don't feel like it. So I always told that all my communities throughout my workouts, throughout my DVDs, all through my teachings. I'm telling everybody, this is what is going to get you stronger. Maybe for some people it's prayers, for me is exercise. And I think for a lot of people, they don't understand how important is exercise. And I've always wanted to bring that up to everyone. So now I'm facing my biggest challenge. Now I'm told that I have cancer, and I felt two ways. One, I wanted to record what physically was going to be, because at the time when they told me I had cancer, I had no idea what was going to happen. I really had, you have this big thing in front of you, and it's like, what does that mean? Does it mean operation? Does it mean? So I wanted to document physically as an athlete how that was going to affect me, and show that to the community and be very candid about it. But secondly, I wanted to show how and if I would really going to be able to find that famous strength that I tell everybody, you're going to be strong, you're going to be there. How can I not? So I felt that I had to do that for anybody that has always been in my community or that follow my exercises or my philosophy, and to show what was going to be really like.
What, and you know what? I think it's the candid nature of the film that I really sort of gravitated to, because, I mean, obviously through your career and your work, you've portrayed this very strong image, and but then you show, okay, maybe I came back a little too soon, or but you show the moments of like, okay, I can do it, but fuck, this sucks. I'm in pain. This hurts. I'm kind of curious from your perspective, how important was it to show sort of the warts and all journey?
It was important. It was important because that was the whole point. I'm not a filmmaker. This is not going to be a professional movie. All I can do is give you honesty and is giving you what really is going to happen to me and how I'm going to react to it. There was not too much editing of all the beginning parts of all the, really the cancer part. It's what you see is what you get. We didn't film much more than that. Also, we didn't have a chance to it. I did not have a crew. I only had a couple of friends that when we could, they would just come in with their,
Right.
handheld camera, and we shot either at the home or at the hospital. And we just organically created what now is this documentary.
I mean, how important was it to get maybe, I guess maybe get a team together to sort of understood sort of how to shape a narrative in a documentary? Because I mean, obviously you're not a filmmaker, and I mean, there is sort of an arc to it, and I mean, there is an art to it. I mean, can you talk to me a little about sort of the team that you got together to sort of, I guess, craft the arc of the story that you wanted to?
Yes. Obviously you're not a filmmaker. I know that's true. He comes through pretty well. And I am we never really had a director. I started with a friend of mine who had directed a couple of movies, and she initiated the whole thing with me, and pushed me to just like, it's okay, we can shoot. It's not going to be like a Kardashian kind of thing where I'm going to be in your face all the time. I don't know anything about reality or anything like that. So I started with this person, but then, as often as I understand happens, especially in documentary, we did not see exactly where we wanted to go. I just wanted to document the fitness part, the journey, and the tribulation that we go through, and how exercise helped me, and then my, going through my father and everything else, and my community. So I continue with just a couple of other people that really understood my vision. But, I was lucky enough that regardless, the team that worked with me was willing to work with me at any time, at any condition. We never did it for the money. We just did it because we wanted to put out a story and a message, and we just always had that vision. We were very lucky though, that at one point, through my doing this documentary, I realized it was very amateurish, and I really wanted to bring it to the next level. And it was interesting because I was on the plane with my brother the time that I went back for last time to Italy, thinking that I was going to go see my dad, still alive. And my brother was like, I was very agitated, obviously, in the plane. It was an overnight flight. I couldn't wait to get, to Italy with the flight. And my brother was like, why don't you watch this documentary? It's called Dancer. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be so distracted. But I was like, okay. So I put it on, and I don't know if you ever heard of it. This is a great documentary. And I don't know, something about touched me, the rawness, the everything. And I wanted to work with the person that this documentary with, is Federico Rosenwitz, and thinking he's never going to work on something like this. But lo and behold, we contacted him, and he took a look at what we had so far, and he said, you know what, you guys are going to come aboard. I'm going to help you. And he came in, and he really helped us, shave some stuff that it was redundant or not really, that there was no point. And he really pushed us to keep some stuff that I was a little bit uncomfortable. And it was like, absolutely not. This stays. And so we worked with him as well. And that was very helpful.
No, I've got to imagine. I mean, it sounds like that was probably the moment of clarity for you, especially just in terms of making all this. Because I mean, I can imagine there are moments that you wanted to turn the camera off, or you didn't necessarily want to show things that were going on in your life. But from a filmmaking standpoint, it was necessary to sort of, especially have the family moments, to give it all sort of clarity and sort of arc. Was that for you sort of the moment where you understood, I guess, how to tell the story the right way, as opposed to just making it, like you say, maybe in a more amateurish way?
He came on board when we already had most of the footage.
Right.
So I was okaying I was okay. And I went forward with, shooting the footage, because at the end of the day, again, no, I don't know much what I'm doing because it's not my job, but I know what I wanted to give. I knew that if I was the viewer, I would have wanted to know that 3 pounds were a hard movement for me, that coming back from a doctor was not, that you have moments that you really want to say, the hell with everything. I'm not in a good mood. I don't think I'm going to ever be able to be the person that I used to be. And I think this needs to stay. I don't know. It was something bigger than me. Honestly, it was something bigger than me, because believe it or not, I'm actually a very private person. And even in my social media, I am not the kind of person, I'm like, I'm here in the shower, I'm here eating something, and I'm here, I'm traveling, I hate that. And I never have done it. So I just went all in. I said, one time in my life, I just have to do it. And I did it for this documentary.
How do you think sort of your extra, because I mean, I look at the exercise stuff that you've done, and then I see just sort of your life philosophy. And this really does, I mean, I want to say philosophy because this feels very philosophical to me, just sort of the need to fight, the need to sort of have that movement in your life to sort of push through and be stronger. And I mean, it's not always going to be easy. And how important was it for you to sort of, I guess, give that sense of, I mean, I don't want to say hope because that sounds a little cheesy, but maybe just sort of empowerment, because I mean,
Yeah.
we're stronger collective, like as human beings. I think, like personally, I like to think we're stronger than we sort of give ourselves credit for, but we need to see that
Absolutely.
sometimes.
100%. That was one of the biggest thing that, I think is now is a little bit of a cliche, especially in the fitness world, that we tell people, you're stronger than what you think, you're stronger than what you believe. But the truth is that we really are. And also, and it made me realize, going through what I went through, that I did not know my strength until I had to really see what my strength is going to be like. Everybody, was telling me, oh, you're this strong, so you're going to make it through. And I'm like, no, I am this strong in the gym. I am this strong in the things that are good and they're going well. I don't know how I'm going to be this strong that everybody thinks I am, when actually I'm not going to be able to lift my arm, it's the how, mentally I'm going to be so strong. So it was important for me to really test myself and see if all these years of training as a warrior, it really created an emotional armor, and it did. And, of course, you still are depressed, you still get sad, you still have moments where you want to give up completely, but you have that will in you to pick yourself up and to keep it going. And I've learned that will from my years of training.
Well, and I mean, it really is an important life lesson, because I mean, life happens outside the gym. I mean, I can understand people having strength in a church or a gym or whatnot, but life happens everywhere. You have to be able to carry that everywhere. And I mean, it's such a beautiful message to put forth. And I'm kind of curious, how was your family about, I guess, participating in all of this?
They were amazing. They were really, my mom was amazing. My brother, never mind that my brother happened to be there the day that they told me. So he lives in Italy. He just came to visit for a week and this whole happened. So that's, it was like meant to be like that, but they were amazing. They've always been so supportive. Even my dad, in his Italian dad way of like, I don't want to know anything about this. What is this camera thing? But he was like, whatever, if it was only a few moments, but he was fine. So they were really great. But we weren't in their face. We weren't,
Right.
I'm not that kind of person. I would go like, shoot this, come on. It's like, it just was a little bit of shooting, and it was just like enough to capture some moments.
No, I mean, obviously you didn't plan it like this, but this almost feels like it's a perfect time coming out as we're all sort of slowly coming out of the COVID cocoon. I mean, I'm kind of curious, like from your perspective, how important is it to sort of put that message of really positivity out there? Because we lose it. I mean, people think, oh, it's easy to be positive. No, it's not easy to be positive. It's fucking hard to be positive.
Absolutely. And this is not a message of being positive. In fact, as you said,
Yeah.
it feels, to me, it's always felt a little cheesy, and it felt a little bit, and now thank you for like some people saying this toxic positivity, because I think in a way it is to shove at somebody's throat
For
and say,
sure.
you have to be. It's not about positivity. It's about finding your own strength.
For
Because,
sure.
and forever, for me, my challenge was cancer, but it could be anything. It could be a divorce. It could be a death in the family. It could be a car accident. It could be so many different, it could be a child, we all have different challenges. It could be the loss of your loved one. And it's how are you going to cope with this? How are you, it's not a matter of finding a smiling and say, it's how are you going to cope with this? And my strength, exercise gave it to me. And that's, my message. And you're right. It's very important at a time like this after COVID, but I do think it's important always. And I think we tend to forget a little bit about the importance of exercise, or we talk about exercise a little bit in just the good bicep and a little bit in a cheesy kind of way, and not deep enough to understand how much it affects our soul.
Okay, if someone wanted to make, say, a narrative feature film of your story, who would you want to play you?
What a great question. I don't know. That's a hard one. Charlize Theron.
Oh, I'm with you there. Yeah, I like that.
Should I shoot a little higher than that? I love her. So amazing. Yeah.
How how important do you think the medium of film is to put a story like this out there? Because I mean, you could have just done an interview, or you could have done sort of something in print, and it could have documented the whole thing. But how important is it, do you think, from your perspective, that you actually showed the story as opposed to just telling your story to somebody else?
I think it would touch people very differently to see it. I know that when I watch movies that touch me, they touch me really deeply, and they stay with me, and they have more of a chance to affect what I'm going to do in, as opposed to just an interview. Interviews are amazing, and sometimes you just need a podcast, and sometimes something hits you just right at the right time. I did it. I did it like this, but believe me, I had no idea even what I was going to do when I started. I just kind of like roll with it and learn that I was doing it, and then try to embrace it in the most professional possible way from my standpoint of view. But I think it can be very important.
No, and you know what? It was told with such honesty, because obviously you were there, you were living it. And I mean, I think that really shines through, and it's a fantastic piece of work, because at the end of the day, people want to know about people, be it a fictional story or a documentary. And that's kind of the important thing to focus on. And I mean, just congratulations again on making really a fantastic piece of work. And thank you for the time today.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you so much.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.